All I say is to my Republican friends, and I do have them, take back your party. This is the grand old party, the party that's done so much for our country. It is interesting to see 35 members coming forth. I'm very proud of them. And it was a recognition that this was a bipartisan product, negotiated in good faith.
Even though 35 House Republicans did cross over and support the idea of a commission, its future in the Senate does not look great. With McConnell now publicly opposing the bill, earlier today, Montana Democrat John Tester was asked if compromise is still an option.
I don't know how you compromise on a nonpartisan commission to determine what happened on the insurrection on January 6th. It seems like a no-brainer to me that would pass the Senate 100-0. I don't get it. To be truthful with you, I think it's very, very important we get to the bottom of this. I think, if anything, this commission bill's 90 days too late.
Back with us again tonight, Jason Johnson, campaign veteran, journalist, contributor over at the Griot, professor of politics and journalism at Morgan State University, and Matthew Dowd, founder of Country Over Party. In the past, he was chief strategist for the Bush-Cheney presidential effort in '04. Gentlemen, good evening to you both and welcome. And Matthew, because of the politics of this, you get to go first. I want to talk about the Senate Republicans, and Rob Portman is about as good a test case as any. He's kind of been a piñata around here for the last year or so. Here's a guy from Ohio. By any definition, pre-Trump was a classic standard Republican, sold out with the whole lot of them. He's going to go home. There will be a Portman Center for something. He's going to hope that people in introductions for the rest of his life call him the distinguished U.S. Senator from Ohio. But when you ask him about a commission, no, I don't think so. I think we're good. What is the problem here? Do they not want the truth to come out? And why a guy like Portman on his way out the door throwing his body in front of this?
Well, Brian, I think you described Rob Portman well. I remember I did debate prep with Rob Portman in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, when Dick Cheney had his debates, and I did it with him. And he was, as you're right, a principled conservative. That was sort of the country club mainstream conservative. I think what Rob Portman is a full recognition of what the Republican Party has become. And if you think about what happened in 2016, I think Donald Trump recognized what the Republican Party had become long before all of the other Republican politicians, which is why I thought early on he would be the Republican nominee, because he knew the Republican Party and who they were and what drove them and what motivated them more than any of the other candidates. And that's why you'll see now the candidates that ran in 2016 and people like Rob Portman have become more of what Donald Trump is. You see it from Chris Christie. You see it from Marco Rubio. You see it from Nikki Haley. You see it from Rob Portman. And so I think it is not because Donald Trump caused the party to change. It was Donald Trump was a result of what the Republican Party has become. Keep in mind, it is now a wholesale cultural grievance, large segment of white supremacist party. That's what the party is. Yes, they don't want the truth to come out because I think they think Republicans will be held accountable in the midst of this, but it's much more than that. It is a full reflection of who the Republican base is. The Republican base believes this election was stolen, and I think they justify what happened on January 6th.
And this current Republican Party, Matthew, before I get over to the very patient Jason Johnson, made it what it is. The base is the monster they allowed to happen. Now they're all kind of bound to cater to it.
Yeah, it's like Frankenstein and the monster chasing them into the North Pole, and they're running as fast as they can, but they know this is what the party is. The party is driven. The biggest influence of the Republican Party today is no elected official. It is Fox News and OWN and Breitbart and Newsmax. Those are the biggest influentials of the Republican Party today. There is not a single, or I shouldn't say that, there is very few servant leaders anymore in the Republican Party. There is very few servant leaders. And the idea that we are giving courage to the 35 who voted for a bipartisan commission, our standard for courage has been quite lessened over the years, that is a courageous act to vote for a bipartisan commission related to an insurrection at the Capitol.
Yeah, right there with you. Okay, Jason, that nicely sets up what I brought for you tonight. This is an excerpt from Perry Bacon Jr. op-ed page, Washington Post today. By far the biggest problem is the Republican Party, presented with a clear chance to move on from Trumpism. After the January 6th attack on the Capitol, the GOP has instead continued its drift toward anti-democratic action and white grievance. The future looks scary. Jason, I guess the question for you is, how scary does the present look for you right about now?
It's pretty terrifying, Brian, because basically you have a party that is a dollar store front for an insurrection, for a coup. And you have a lot of Republicans. I don't think Donald Trump recognized what Republicans were. They've always been this way. They've been doing this for 20, 25 years. It's just that no one thought you could win this way in a democracy. And now that they see you can, this is the behavior you're going to get in. And here's the ultimate hypocrisy of this, honestly, Brian, is that you have Republicans who are saying, especially in the Senate, we don't need a January 6th commission. We need to move past this. But at the same time, they're voting for increased security at the Capitol. How you balance those things out, right? Like apparently you don't feel entirely safe at the job, but you're not willing to investigate where this has come from. I find this to be dangerous because every single person, and I still believe, because we have certainly circumstantial evidence at this time, and it is worth investigating as to whether or not members of Congress were actually participants or assisted or aided and abetted this insurrection. We still have not found out if any of them or their staffs were engaging in this behavior. The people who were behind the January 6th insurrection will simply try again. And next time, they may not be able to hang Mike Pence, but they could get their hands on Nancy Pelosi. They could get their hands on Cory Booker. And that's why this is so dangerous. I do not think the Democratic Party is taking this seriously enough because we know the Republicans are halfway complicit.